If you want to gain tons of abyss gears and make overpowered ones for your build, you are in the right place. If you are tired of not having strong abyss gears, I will be giving 3 of the best farming spots and methods currently, while also giving you the best practices of synthesizing tier 3 abyss gears, so you can be truly overpowered and have access to the strongest character builds. But for you to enjoy the maximum benefits of the upcoming best farming methods, you need to understand the mechanics that makes the farm go. It is easy to break this farm like 100% of the time, and a lot of players already have zero access to this method, so you need to pay attention to the following mechanics. The primary method to gain tons of abyss gears is disarming mace and shield Skull Knight followers users and getting their weapons on the ground. Take note of this, you don't really need to kill the enemies, you just need to disarm them. I will be showing you their locations in just a second, but for now, you need to understand the core mechanics. While you are in the process of disarming more of the key enemies, your companion will get the disarmed maces and shields for you, or you can simply loot the items for yourself for faster clear times. Keep in mind that you can only disarm the key enemies in this method if you are using a small shield, and you can disarm enemies by pressing and holding the L1 button and then by pressing the R2 button after the enemy successfully lands an attack on you. The specifics of how turning the shields and maces into abyss gears will also be discussed in detail later on, so stay tuned for that. But the short answer is, the maces and shield from this method have a guaranteed Tier 1 Malice Bane and Tier 1 Fortitude Abyss gears, which you can extract and synthesize later on to create powerful abyss gears. In the latest patch, players can no longer just jump on this method and kill the other enemies who do not wield the key maces and shields. But I am telling you, never ever kill any follower at all while doing this method. Killing the range type or any flying type enemies will lessen your enemy percentage bar. If that bar goes to 0, it will tag your key spots or camp as cleared, so you will stop the key enemies from spawning altogether. So yes, while you are disarming the key enemies, there is a high chance that you will get continuous damage from range attacks. Now that you understand the core mechanics, always remember that before starting any farming session, always prepare a save file backup. So just in case you mess up the main farming method, you do have a restore point to access. While there are certain cases where enemies die on their own, and you will notice this right away, since the percentage bar will be lessened even though you are just disarming enemies. My main theory why this is happening is that flying and ranged enemies shoots ice arrows or ranged attacks that can inflict frostbite even on their comrades, so enemies are dying from friendly fires. If this happens, just load your save file and continue from there. So to set the mechanics first, here's a detailed rundown of all the things you need to consider. You can screenshot it or print the guidelines for later use. My general farming build for this one is rather simple. I suggest slotting in the Frost Curse armor set to have a huge ice resistance on the get-go, as it will help you mitigate the cold weather during farming sessions. The Frost Curse armor set will also help you mitigate the damage of the range attack from flying and ranged enemies, since all of them are ice element based. Because if you can remember, you will be receiving a lot of hits from range attacks. Of course, you need a pet companion for this run to help you gather loot while you are disarming, and a lot of grilled meat, and bring as many as you can so you can just heal while tanking attacks. And if you are getting value so far, subscribe to the channel. Liking the video and engaging in the comments helps me more than you can imagine. Or consider supporting us on Patreon or by becoming a channel member today, and I appreciate your support. Moving on to the actual methods and key locations. Taking the top 3 spotlight is the Frost Hold Pass method. This method will allow you to farm 5 mace and shield users located near the town of Bagan. I am showing the actual location of the spot on the screen right now, and don't forget to activate the Key Abyss Nexus for this method. Starting from our Key Abyss Nexus for this run, and from the town of Bagan, ride your horse past the broken bridge by doing a long horse jump. Notice the mountain path that will lead you to the snowy mountains area in front of you. Once you are in the said pathway, navigate through it, and eventually, you will enter the Frost Hold Pass, which is our key location for this method. Pay attention where I park my horse in here, so we can access it later on in the fastest time possible. Aggro all of the enemies in the area by light attacking any followers in here, and group every follower you can find in the area and wait for the shield and mace user to attack you, so you can start the disarming process. The hardest thing in here is being patient, since you will be bombarded with ice range attacks, and if you can remember, we are not allowed to kill any soldiers in here, so the Frost Curse set will help you a lot when mitigating incoming damage as previously mentioned. There are 5 mace and shield type soldiers in the area, so if you notice that all of them are already disarmed, help your companion by trying to locate the disarmed weapons and shields. Once you get all of the weapons and shields, access your horse, disengage from combat, and navigate the mountain pass. When you are disengaging, pay attention to your minimap where it shows the red enemy visibility range. If the red enemy visibility range disappears, head back to the location and you will notice that our key enemies will have their maces and shields back, so you can continue the farming. The Frost Hold Pass method requires at least 2 minutes plus to disarm all of the enemies and reset the whole method. And as mentioned, there are key 5 enemies in here, so that's 5 maces and 5 shields, which can be converted to 10 tier 1 abyss gears later on. So in an hour of consistent farming, you are expecting a whopping 320 abyss gears on average per hourly run. The main downside of this spot is that there are ice throwers enemies in the area that can greatly slow you down. Keep in mind as well that whatever happens, don't cross the area where I'm standing on the screen right now, since getting past this point, you will trigger the spawn animation of hordes of flying enemies, and we don't want that obviously. I see the Frosthold entrance as the best spot overall if you want a much steadier pace and to avoid chaos as much as possible, since this spot will allow you to farm 6 of the key enemies that we are looking for with just normal archers around the spot, without the ice thrower enemies that can make your run slower. The main location is being shown on the screen right now, which is located on the southern side of Bagan. Activate the key Abyss Nexus for this run and you are good to go. Starting the actual method from the Abyss Nexus, summon your horse and follow the pathway in here that will lead you to Bagan. When the path splits into 2, head to your left. Head to the location where the broken wagon is located and follow the pathway that will lead you to the icy mountain area. Park your horse near the entrance so you can access it later on as quickly as possible, and attack the nearest soldier from the entrance to start the session. Focus on the shielded soldiers in the lower part of the area and start disarming them. There are 4 shielded enemies in the upper section of the area, but let them come to you. So in total, we do have 6 key enemies in this area. So as usual, disarm all of them without killing any type of soldiers in here, including the ranged ones. After disarming and getting all of the shields and maces, disengage from combat, hop back on your horse and navigate the mountain pathway all the way through the broken wagon. Pay attention to your minimap, and when the red visibility range of your enemies disappears, head back to the key location and farm even more shields and maces since the enemies have already reset. The Frosthold entrance method takes about 1 minute and 50 seconds to 2 minutes plus, allowing you to farm 6 key enemies that give 6 maces and shields per attempt. So if you do this consistently for an hour, we are looking at a whopping 360 abyss gears per hour without the need to deal with ice thrower enemies in the process. Just like in the previous method, don't ever the cave near the key location as you will be summoning a lot of flying enemies as well. The Ice Witch Altar is hands down the best spot overall when it comes to the raw abyss gear yield amount per hour because of the sheer amount of shielded enemies in the area. But there's a big downside to this, so you will want to stay tuned on this one. You can farm at least a whopping 15 of the key enemies in this area. How did I know? I hear you asking, my dear viewer. Well, I counted them manually, since if you can remember, these guys are not hostile if you are wearing the Frost Curse set because their leader looks like you. The location on the screen right now pinpoints the Ice Witch Altar. And don't forget to activate the Abyss Nexus as a starting point for this run. Starting from the Abyss Nexus, head to your right and navigate the Frosted Lake near the Spire of Frost. And eventually, you will find the pathway that will lead you to the altar. While you are on your way, ignore the followers for now. Just don't mind them, follow the mountain pathway and you will be fine. Navigate the long mountain pass as I mentioned, and when reaching the entrance of the altar, the boss Skull Knight will appear. Skip this guy and head to the main grounds of the Ice Witch Altar. Attack any soldier in the area to start the process of disarming all of the shielded enemies in the area. As you can clearly see in here, the main downside of this method is that you will be bombarded with a lot of ranged attacks from both ice throwers and flying enemies combined that can piss you off big time. This is the reason why I see the Frosthold entrance as the best spot in all of the 3 methods so far, if you want a much steadier pace, that is. Once all of the key enemies in the area are weaponless and you looted every mace and shield you can find, disengage from combat just like the other methods and wait for the red visibility range to disappear so you can return to the farming site and repeat the process over and over. Let's say you power through the method and didn't mind the millions of range attacks being thrown at you. This spot requires 4 minutes to 4 minutes and 30 seconds to clear each run. And remember, we have 15 key enemies in this spot, so that's a whopping 15 maces and 15 shields. In an hour of consistent farming, we are looking at a mind-blowing 450 abyss gears per hour. And there is no doubt that this spot is the best overall when it comes to raw data. Now that you understand the method of getting as many shields and maces, we are now ready to create tier 3 abyss gears. And the process will start by heading to Elowen or your main witch starting from chapter 5. You will never miss her location since this is part of the main story, but I am still showing her place on the screen right now. So step 1 is extracting all of the tier 1 abyss gears from all of the maces and shields you farm. And if you can remember, I mentioned that the shield offers Fortitude 1 and the mace will give you Malice Bane 1. So to put it into practice, you have millions of shields and maces ready for extraction in your inventory. So talk to Elowen, access extract abyss gear, and select one of the shields and maces that you have in your inventory. So you will be extracting every tier 1 abyss gear from all of your shields and maces until all tier 1 abyss gears are extracted. This is the hardest and most tedious part of the process, at least in my opinion, but it is not that bad after you've done it a couple of times. So let's say you are done extracting every tier 1 abyss gears. So your inventory will look like this. You will be swimming with Malice Bane 1s and Fortitude 1s. After we have a lot of tier 1 abyss gears to synthesize, save your game first and this will make sense later on. And it will serve as a backup save. Because if we don't like the results after synthesizing all of our tier 1s, we can just load our save and try again to get a different result. So let's say you already saved your game and let's put this into practice. Talk to Elowen, access craft abyss gears, then head to synthesis tab. Then press triangle to access the tier 1 gear fusion and make it in bulk. You can fuse at least 20 tier 1 abyss gears at a time. After fusing 20 tier 1 abyss gears, check the results on the right hand side of your screen. In this case, I got a lot of tier 1 abyss gears, which is really a downer or not so good. Because we are aiming to create as many tier 2 abyss gears in every bulk fusion. Since I am not happy with the results, I will then access my main menu and then load my save that we made before the fusion. Make sure to load the manual save that you made and not the autosave. The previous progress has been loaded, so I will talk again to Elowen and repeat the process. And then I will now synthesize or fuse another 20 tier 1 abyss gears and hoping that I will get a lot of tier 2 abyss gears this time. And there you go. It seems that I got a lot of tier 2s from this attempt. What I will do next, since I am happy with the progress, is to save my progress again. Then I will repeat the process over and over until all of my tier 1 abyss gears are gone and I have a lot of tier 2 abyss gears instead in the process. And before moving on to the next step, save your game first after getting a lot of tier 2 abyss gears. Here comes the fun part. Let's say you've already fused all of your tier 1 abyss gears and now you have a lot of tier 2 abyss gears. You will be making tier 3 abyss gears finally and the process remains the same. To put this into practice, I asked you to save your progress before this step, right? So if you did, talk to Elowen, head to special synthesis, and craft as many tier 3 abyss gears as possible until you run out of tier 2 abyss gears. Here are a few examples of tier 3 abyss gears fusion results, and I am noticing that a lot of results are tier 2 abyss gears, and obviously we don't want that. So what I will do here is to load my progress, and I will repeat fusing all of my tier 2 abyss gears until I get good tier 3 Abyss gears, or the ones that I am looking for. And of course, I will be sharing what Abyss gears you will be looking for when synthesizing later on. Let's say you got every tier 3 Abyss gears you wanted, but not so good ones are lying in your inventory. You do have an option to fuse your unwanted tier 3 Abyss gears to make new one in the same menu. If your tier 3 Abyss gears are available for fusion, they will appear on the list so you can commence synthesizing them. In your fusion results, it is likely that you will encounter greater Abyss gears. The effects of these gears are so potent, but they break when they reach 0. Not really a priority, but you can use them in your daily activities. Maybe the whole process is a lot to take in at first, so I made a simple presentation covering the whole cycle. Pause the video if you need to, or print this somewhere for later use. Now that you've already known how to make tier 3 Abyss gears without wasting too many materials or lower Abyss gears, you need to know what Abyss gears to aim for. The upcoming list is not the be-all end-all list of the best Abyss gears out there, but rather the ones that an early to mid-game player needs. The first one on the list is tier 3 Aptitude, which increases your skill XP gains by 30%. So if you have 3 of these, that's already 90% skill XP bonus. Perfect for manual XP farming to gain a lot of Abyss artifacts in the process. Tier 3 Infinite Arrows are one of the most broken Abyss gears in the game, as they will give you a chance to not consume arrows when using your bow. This is perfect for pure range builds in mid to end game. The tier 3 version of the Infinite Arrows provides 60% chance to skip arrow usage, so you only need 2 of these to make your arrows unlimited. And yes, explosive arrows are counted as well. Tier 3 Destruction is pretty straightforward, as it adds plus 3 raw attack stat per Abyss gear, pretty useful for burst setups in endgame. While tier 3 Insight is pretty much in high demand since it adds a level 3 critical rate, which is pretty useful in every build. So hoard as many as you can if you want to have a build with a strong bow and melee damage. Tier 3 Swift Abyss gears are also suggested, granting your build level 3 attack speed. This is obviously perfect for attack speed builds, especially when dual wielding swords. While tier 3 Haste gives your build level 3 movement speed, which is perfect for general exploration. If you want to move in different places on foot, create a dedicated armor set that has a lot of tier 3 Haste on it. And finally, the Blessing of the Earth Abyss gear, which provides 30% chance to double your yield when mining. Mining is very important in your character progression, and you need a lot of ores to upgrade your armor sets and weapons. So get at least 3 pieces of tier 3 Blessing of the Earth and 1 piece of tier 1 to have at least 100% chance of doubling your mining yield in the process. Not to mention, it is so perfect if you have the mining drill. But what if you want to know the fastest way to gain tons of Abyss artifacts? This video will guide you on everything you need to know, so click on it and I will catch you on the next one.